Tom stood alone on the rocky ground of planet Zero-9. The mining base behind him was silent. Dust moved in the wind. Machines were off. The others had already gone. He was the only human left. 3 days ago, a solar flare had hit the system. The crew had left quickly, boarding the last ship. Tom had been deep inside the tunnel, fixing a cooling pipe. By the time he returned, they were gone. No message, no signal. Just silence. He tried the radio, but the antenna was damaged. He had water and a few packs of food. The power inside the outpost was weak. It might last a few more days, but not more. Tom didn't panic, but he felt cold inside. Each night, the sky turned dark purple. Stars looked closer from this world. Tom sat by the window and stared at them, hoping for a light in the sky, any sign of rescue. But on the fourth morning, something strange happened. He was checking the broken antenna again when he saw it. A small ship, not like any human ship, came down slowly from the clouds. It was shaped like a leaf, silver, and quiet. It landed about 50 meters away. Tom hid behind a large metal container. He didn't know if it was safe. The ship's door opened, and a figure stepped out. It was not human. She was tall and thin, her skin a soft lavender color. Her long dark hair was tied in a braid, and her eyes were big and green. She didn't wear armor or carry a weapon. Instead, she held a small round basket with glowing plants inside. Tom stayed still. The alien girl looked around, then slowly walked toward the outpost. She didn't look afraid. In fact, she smiled when she saw the broken machines and empty containers. Tom stepped out from his hiding place. He raised both hands. "Hello," he said, his voice dry. The alien girl stopped. She looked at him with a calm face, then nodded once. She pointed to the basket, then to him, then to the small ship. "You want me to come?" Tom asked. She nodded again. Tom looked back at the outpost. There was nothing left there. No signal, no help, no life. He took one last breath of the dry air and followed her. Inside the ship, it was warm. Soft lights moved along the walls. The smell of herbs and steam filled the air. There was a small kitchen area full of strange tools and glowing jars. Plants grew along the side walls. The air felt fresh. The alien girl made a soft sound and pointed to a seat. Tom sat. She opened the basket and took out some purple roots and bright orange leaves. She moved quickly, her hands light and careful. Soon, something boiled in a small pot. A smell filled the ship, warm, sweet, and new. Tom didn't know the words, but it reminded him of home. The girl placed a bowl in front of him. The food was green and yellow, with soft pieces that steamed gently. Tom looked at her. She nodded, smiling. He took a small bite. The taste was like nothing he had eaten before, rich, soft, and full of flavor. He took another bite. The alien girl watched him, then took her own bowl and ate beside him. That night, he slept inside the ship. The bed was small but soft. He closed his eyes, warm for the first time in days. The next morning, she cooked again. This time it was a thick soup, with small white balls that floated in the broth. Tom helped by handing her tools. She smiled every time he guessed the right one. They didn't speak the same language, but she tried. She pointed to herself and said, "Lena." Tom smiled. "Tom." She repeated his name slowly. "Tom." From that moment, she said it each time she gave him food. "Tom, eat." "Tom, help." "Tom, sit and return." Tom tried to learn her words too. He pointed to water. "Water." She said, "Nuri." He pointed to the ship. "Ship." She said, "Roa." They laughed when they got it wrong. Tom felt like a student again. Each meal brought a new word. Each word brought them closer. By the fifth day, Tom had almost forgotten the cold and fear he had felt before. He cleaned the filters on the ship's air system. He fixed the small power coil under the floor. Lena gave him a soft scarf made from plant fibers. She tied it around his neck and smiled. That night, while they ate, a storm passed outside. Wind howled. Sun hit the metal shell of the ship. Inside, the lights stayed warm. Lena lit a small lantern with a soft blue flame. They sat without speaking. Eating slowly, Tom watched her across the table. She wasn't just kind. She was calm, smart, and full of care. He wondered why she had come. She could have ignored the signal. She could have flown past. But she had stopped. She had cooked for him. She had shared her home. For the first time in many days, Tom felt like he belonged somewhere. He looked out the window. The stars still waited above, but now he didn't feel alone under them. He was not rescued by a fleet, not by soldiers, not by his own people. He was rescued by a girl from the stars, a girl who cooked for him daily, and he wondered quietly, what comes next? Tom woke up to a soft light coming from the ceiling. The air inside the ship smelled sweet and fresh, like flowers and herbs mixed together. He sat up slowly. The bed was still warm. For a moment, he forgot he was far away from Earth. The sound of something bubbling pulled his attention. He walked to the small kitchen space. Lena was already there. She stood with her back to him, carefully stirring a pot with a long wooden spoon. Steam rose from it, filling the air with a soft, rich smell. She turned and smiled. Tom. Good morning. Tom nodded. Morning, Lena. She handed him a small round fruit. It was purple and smooth. Try, she said. He took a bite. It was soft inside, a little like a peach but cooler, with a sweet aftertaste. He smiled. Good. Lena looked pleased. She turned back to the pot and added some green leaves. Tom watched her as she worked. She didn't move like someone in a hurry. Every motion was calm and gentle, like she had done this many times. He looked around. The ship was small but full of life. Plants grew along the walls in tiny glass boxes. Some had round fruits, others had long vines or shining leaves. The floor was clean, and soft music played from a corner speaker. Tom didn't understand the tune, but it made him feel relaxed. Lena brought him a bowl of soup. It was yellow and orange, with small cubes of root vegetables floating in it. She handed him a thin spoon made of wood. Tom took a sip. The soup was thick and warm, with a deep, earthy flavor. He could taste a little spice, but it wasn't too strong. It reminded him of back on Earth, though the ingredients were completely new. Very good, he said. Lena smiled again. Food is language. Tom looked at her, confused. She placed her hand on her chest. My people. We talk by food too. Care, welcome, peace. She pointed to the bowl. I give this, I say welcome. Tom looked down at the bowl again. It wasn't just food. It was her way of showing kindness. Thank you, he said softly. After breakfast, Tom helped her clean the kitchen area. He washed the bowls while Lena dried them with a soft cloth. They worked side by side, and though they said little, it felt like they understood each other. Later, they sat in front of the ship's console. Tom looked at the small radar screen. No signal yet. Earth was still too far. The damaged antenna needed time to fully repair. He had fixed part of it, but the ship's power was limited. Lena pointed to the stars. Your home? She asked. Tom nodded. Yes, Earth. She tilted her head. You miss? He paused, then nodded again. I do, but I feel safe here, Linus. Smile grew softer. She looked down, then back at him. I'm glad. For the next few days, their routine became steady. Lena cooked 3 times a day. Tom helped gather ingredients from the greenhouse area. He learned how to cut the roots properly and clean the leaves. He was clumsy at first, but Lena was patient. One afternoon, she showed him how to make a dish himself. It was a kind of round bread filled with spiced greens and soft seeds. He rolled the dough wrong at first, and it stuck to his fingers. Lena laughed, a soft, musical laugh that made Tom smile. She showed him again, this time holding his hands to guide the motion. Her touch was light and warm. For a moment, Tom forgot about everything else. Just her, the dough, and the smell of baking. When the bread was done, they sat outside the ship, under the soft light of the planet's sun. The air was dry but gentle. The sky was a pale blue with streaks of silver clouds. Tom took a bite. It wasn't perfect, but it was good. Lena clapped her hands. Tom cook. He laughed. Tom try. They shared the bread. sitting on a smooth rock near the landing site. The silence between them was not heavy, it felt peaceful. That evening, they checked the signal again. It was still weak, but better. A few lines of data had passed through. Maybe Earth would answer soon. Tom stared at the blinking light. He should be excited, but he wasn't sure what he felt. Back inside, Lena was preparing dinner. This time it was something different. Small steamed balls with green sauce. Tom watched her work. She moved with care, humming a tune under her breath. "Lena," he said quietly. She looked at him. "Why did you stop? Why help me?" Lena thought for a moment. Then she said, "I saw your light, faint, but there. My ship had space. My people, they care for lost things. You were lost." Tom nodded slowly. He didn't know what to say. Lena brought the dinner over. They ate in silence. But something had changed. Tom looked at her more closely now. Her face was calm, but her eyes held a soft light. She had saved him, cooked for him, cared for him, and he had never felt more at home. As night came, the stars appeared again. Lena dimmed the lights and lit a small blue lantern. They sat across from each other, the lantern between them. Tom picked up his bowl and raised it slightly. "Thank you, Lena." She touched her own bowl gently. "Tom, friend." He smiled. "Friend." That night, Tom lay in bed thinking. The stars outside the window blinked slowly. The rescue might come soon. But something inside him had changed. Lena's meals weren't just food. They were something more. Something that touched his heart. The sun of planet Zernine rose slowly behind the dusty hills, casting a soft orange light on the ground. Tom stood near the ship, stretching his arms. The air was dry, but not too hot. Another quiet day had begun. Inside the ship, Lena was already awake. She stood in front of the stove, cutting red roots into thin slices. Steam rose from the pot beside her. She turned and smiled when she saw Tom. "Morning, Tom." "Morning, Lena," he replied. They had fallen into a routine every morning. Lena made breakfast while Tom checked the ship's systems. After eating, they worked together cleaning, repairing, learning from each other. Tom had never expected to find peace on a distant planet, but with Lena, each day felt meaningful. After breakfast, Lena brought out a basket and handed it to Tom. "We go greenhouse." Tom nodded. The greenhouse was a large glass room attached to the ship's side. Inside, rows of alien plants grew in soil beds and floating water tanks. The air was fresh, full of green smells and gentle light. Tom had learned the names of a few plants. One was Mira, a leafy green used in soups. Another was Valro, a round fruit with bright blue juice. Lena showed him how to harvest them without harming the roots. They moved slowly between the rows, picking leaves and checking moisture levels. Tom placed the picked items in the basket. Lena hummed a soft tune while working. It sounded like a song without words. "Lena," Tom said, pointing to a small wilted plant. "Is this sick?" Lena walked over and touched the leaves. "Little. Dry. Needs mist." Tom fetched a small can and sprayed water gently. Lena watched him work. "You learn fast," she said. Tom smiled. "Good teacher." They worked for another hour. When they returned to the ship, Lena prepared lunch using the fresh plants. Tom sat beside her, helping slice the blue fruit. Juice dripped on the table, and they laughed as it stained his fingers. During the meal, they talked more. Their shared words were still few, but they used simple language and gestures to fill the gaps. "Your job?" Lena asked. "Engineer," Tom said. "Fix machines, build things." She nodded. "My people grow. Not build much. We grow food. Share food." Tom thought about it. Her people sounded peaceful. He wondered what her planet was like. Was it green and quiet? Did others look like her? Did they all cook with care? "Your home?" he asked. Lena looked up. Her eyes softened. "Far. Very green. Rivers, trees, big sky." Tom smiled. "Sounds nice." She looked at him. "Your Earth?" He paused. "Big cities, tall buildings. Noise, people busy. Do you miss?" she asked. Tom looked round the small ship, at her, at the food, at the soft lanterns. "Maybe. But I like here too. Lina's face turned a little pink. She looked down and quietly kept eating. Later that day, Tom checked the ship's power systems. The energy core was weak but stable. He cleaned the dust filters and tightened a few cables. Lina joined him, handing tools when needed. She watched closely, curious about everything. "You fix very well," she said. Tom shrugged. "Long time doing this." After the work, they rested outside. The sky above was light blue, with a soft breeze brushing across the land. They sat on a large flat rock near the ship. Tom looked at the horizon. "You always travel alone?" Lina nodded. "This ship only mine. I bring seeds, look for safe places, find lonely places, grow." Tom glanced at her. "You found me instead." She gave a small smile. "Yes, not seed, but still important." He laughed gently. "Strange plant." They sat quietly for a while. The wind moved her hair gently across her face. She didn't move it. Tom reached out and softly pushed the strand behind her ear. She looked at him, surprised for a second, then smiled. That evening, Lina made a new dish. It was a thick paste spread over soft bread, with small purple herbs sprinkled on top. The flavor was rich and deep, with a hint of something sweet. Tom took a bite and closed his eyes. "This is my favorite now." Lina looked pleased. "You say that every day, because it's true," he replied. She laughed softly. After dinner, they sat inside the greenhouse. Soft lights glowed above them. The plants around them swayed slightly as if moved by invisible air. Tom leaned back against the glass wall. "I didn't think I would find something like this here." Lina looked at him. "What do you find?" "Peace, care, maybe a friend." He said. She nodded slowly. "I feel the same." There was a quiet moment between them. Not heavy, not awkward, just warm. Then Lina said, "When I found your signal, I was scared. I didn't know if you were dangerous." Tom looked at her. "Why come?" Then she took a deep breath. "Because no one should be left alone. My people believe in helping." Tom looked down. "You help more than you know." They didn't speak much after that. The night was calm. The stars outside blinked gently. Tom returned to his bed and lay down, staring at the ceiling. The day had been simple. No loud machines, no noise, no stress, just food, learning, and her company. He smiled to himself. Maybe he was more than rescued. Maybe he was found. The soft hum of the ship's engine was the only sound inside. Tom sat near the main console, watching blinking lights and slow-moving graphs. He was trying to improve the signal again. Some data from Earth had come through, but not much. The connection was weak and slow. Lina walked in quietly, holding to cups made from dark clay. She gave one to Tom. "Hot drink," she said, "from roots. Good for mine." Tom smiled. "Thank you." He took a sip. The taste was strong and earthy, with a little bitterness, but it made him feel awake. "Any message today?" Lina asked, sitting beside him. Tom shook his head. "Just some noise. No full message yet." Lina looked at the screen, then at Tom. "You won't go back?" Tom didn't answer right away. He stared at the screen again, then said, "Maybe. I don't know." Lina nodded slowly. "It is okay not to know." They sat quietly, both sipping from their cups. Then Tom asked Lina, "Can I ask something?" She looked at him and gave a small nod. "Yes." "Why were you alone? Why did you come here? It's a far place." Lina put her cup down and folded her hands in her lap. She looked at the floor for a moment before answering. "My world is called Narella," she said. "It is green and full of rivers. My people grow food, sing songs, and live in peace. We trade with other worlds. We do not fight. We do not build warships." She paused for a moment, then continued. "But one day, the trade stopped. Big ships came, took things, and left nothing. Then silence. Many of our people stayed in villages. But some of us, we travel, to find safe places, to share seeds, to keep knowledge alive." Tom listened carefully. Her voice was calm, but there was a sadness in her words. "You came to this system for farming?" He asked. Double quotes, "Yes." She replied, "This planet has strong soil. I plan to plant a small garden, Take notes and return later. But then I saw your signal. She turned her eyes to him. It was weak. Most would not stop. But I thought, maybe someone needs help. Tom nodded. You were right. Lena gave a small smile. I am glad I stopped. Tom looked around the small ship. He imagined her traveling alone, visiting planet after planet, planting seeds, and helping others. She was brave. Not loud or bold, but brave in her own way. You miss your people? He asked. Yes, she said softly. But I also feel purpose here. Growing things, helping. It is who I am. Tom thought about her words. Purpose. It was a simple word, but deep. He had worked as an engineer for years, fixing machines, following orders. But had he ever truly felt purpose? That afternoon, Tom and Lena walked outside. The wind was light, and the sky was clear. They climbed a small hill near the ship. From the top, they could see the wide land stretching far in every direction. Lena sat on the ground and pulled out a small wooden box from her bag. She opened it carefully. Inside were tiny seeds, each placed in a small section. These are from my home, she said. Each one is a story. Tom leaned closer. The seeds were all different shapes and colors, some round, some flat, some with small tails. They look like little gems, he said. Lena smiled. They grow fast, but only if they feel care. She took one seed, made a small hole in the ground, and placed it inside. Then she covered it and poured a little water from a round bottle. Tom watched her movements. Every motion was slow and full of care. Can I try? He asked. She handed him a seed. Be gentle. It remembers how you treat it. Tom laughed a little. All right, I'll be careful. He planted it beside hers. They watered both, then sat in silence, looking at the soil. They will grow, she said. Not big, but strong. Tom looked at her. Like you? Lena didn't say anything, but she looked at him with warm eyes. As the sun lowered, they returned to the ship. Inside, Lena began preparing dinner. She brought out orange beans, green herbs, and soft white cubes made from plant milk. Tom helped. He washed the herbs while Lena crushed the beans into a paste. The smell filled the air, nutty, sweet, and fresh. They worked in silence, but it was a comfortable silence. Their movements matched. No need for many words. When dinner was ready, they sat down and ate slowly. The dish was new, but Tom liked it. He told her so. Very good. You should open a restaurant on Earth, he joked. She tilted her head. What is restaurant? Tom explained. It's a place where people pay to eat food made by someone else. Lena looked surprised. Food should be shared, not sold. Tom nodded. I agree. But Earth is different. Later that night, they sat near the greenhouse. Soft blue lights lit up the plants. Some leaves glowed faintly in the dark. Tom leaned back, hands behind his head. Do you ever get tired of being alone? Lena thought for a while, then said, Alone is not always lonely. I have my ship, my plants, the stars. But now, I have you too. Tom turned his head to look at her. She was not smiling, but her eyes were full of calm light. I feel the same, he said. They sat like that for a long time. No sound, just the quiet breathing of the ship and the soft rustle of leaves. Tom felt something change inside him. Not fast, not loud, but deep, like a small seed planted in his heart. Something had started to grow. The sky above planet Zernine was clear that morning. Tom and Lena stood outside the ship, checking the soil where they had planted seeds. Tiny green sprouts had started to rise from the ground. Tom smiled as he touched the small leaves. There, growing, he said. Lena nodded. They feel safe. The warm wind moved across the land, and the sun painted golden light on the hills. Everything felt peaceful. But peace doesn't always last. Later that day, Tom sat at the ship's control panel, trying to clean the signal again. He adjusted a few settings, hoping for a stronger connection. The screen flashed, and something new appeared, a message, but not from Earth. The signal was strong, and it was close. Tom leaned forward. The code didn't look like human language. He called out, Lena. She came quickly and looked at the screen. Her smile faded. She pressed a few buttons and stared at the words carefully. "What is it?" Tom asked. Lina's voice was quiet. "Raiders." Tom's heart sank. "Here." She nodded. "Their ship is near. Not far from us. Maybe a few hours." Tom stood up. "What do they want?" "They scan planets," Lina explained. "If they find a ship, they come. They take what they want: tools, fuel, food." She paused. "People too," she added. Tom clenched his fists. "We have to leave." Lina looked down. "My ship is not fast, not strong. If they see us fly, they follow. Then what do we do?" Tom asked. She took a breath. "We hide." Tom followed her as she moved quickly. She opened a storage panel under the floor and pulled out the small metal shields. "These block energy signals," she explained. "We use them to cover ship systems, make us look like rock. Together, they work fast." Tom placed the shields near the power core, the engine, and the communication panel. Lina turned off all lights inside the ship. The hum of machines slowly faded. Within minutes, the ship was dark and silent. They waited. Hours passed. The sun began to lower, casting long shadows across the land. Tom and Lina sat near the window, watching the sky. Then they saw it, a black dot, slowly growing larger. The raider ship dot. It was big, dark, and shaped like a claw. It moved slowly, scanning the ground with a red light. Tom held his breath as the beam passed near their ship. The light stopped, just a few meters away. Then it moved on. Lina whispered, "Stay still." The ship hovered for a few minutes, then started to turn. But just as they began to feel relief, a loud buzz filled the ship. One of the shield panels had slipped. The raider ship stopped. It turned again. Now, it was coming toward them. "They saw us," Tom said. Lina ran to the control panel. "We must leave now." Tom turned the systems back on. Lights blinked. Power returned. In the engine HUMMED. Outside, the raider ship opened its lower hatch. 3 small drones flew out, heading straight for them. "Defense system?" Tom asked. Lina shook her head. "None. We must use brain, not force." Tom looked around. He grabbed a toolkit and ran to the engine room. "Stall them?" "I'll slow their sensors," he said. Lina nodded and moved to the controls. Tom worked fast. He opened the back panel and changed the energy flow. He sent extra power to the rear lights, creating heat and false signals. He also released a burst of steam from the side vents. The drones flew close but turned toward the steam, confused by the false heat. It worked, Lina said, but not for long. The raider ship sent more drones. Tom rushed back to the control room. "Let's fly low," he said. "Stay near the rocks, hide behind hills." Lina guided the ship up, keeping it just above the ground. The ship shook slightly, but it moved fast enough. Dust and sand flew round them as they dodged hills and large rocks. The raider ship followed. Tom looked at the scanner. "There's a cave nearby, big enough to hide." Lina turned sharply. The ship entered the rocky area, and soon the cave appeared. They flew inside and landed quickly behind a wall of stone. They turned off the power again. Silence returned. Above, the raider ship passed by. Its red light scanned the area but didn't enter the cave. Tom and Lina stayed quiet, waiting in the dark. After some time, the sound faded. "They left," Lina said. Her voice was tired. Tom let out a long breath. "That was close." They stayed in the cave for a while. Then, when they were sure the danger had passed, Lina guided the ship back to their original spot. The small garden outside was untouched. The tiny plants still stood strong. That night, Tom sat in the kitchen while Lina prepared dinner. Her hands moved slower than usual. She looked tired, and her eyes were distant. Tom stood beside her. "Are you okay?" She nodded, then paused. "This is the first time someone helped me like this." Tom placed a hand on her shoulder. "You helped me first. I only returned the care." Lina looked at him. "We make a good team." Tom smiled. "Yes, we do." They sat down to eat. The meal was simple, soft boiled roots with a light sauce. Made from crushed herbs, it tasted warm and comforting after a long day. After dinner, they stepped outside. The stars were bright above, The land was quiet again. Tom looked up. They'll come again someday, Lena nodded. Maybe. Tom turned to her. We should be ready next time. I can build something, shields, alarms, even a better signal. She looked at him with gentle eyes. You want to stay. Tom looked back at the garden, the ship, and the stars. I don't want to leave yet, he said. Lena didn't speak, but she moved closer and stood beside him. Together, they looked up at the sky, standing in silence. Not as strangers, not as rescuer and rescued, but as something more. The next few days passed slowly. The air felt calm again, but something had changed inside the ship. Tom noticed it first in Lena's eyes. She was quieter now, more thoughtful. She still smiled, still cooked, still worked with him, but there was something new in the silence between them. One morning, Tom fixed a small speaker that played music. When he turned it on, a soft melody filled the room. Lena looked up from the kitchen and paused, listening. I know this song, she said. Tom was surprised. You do? Lena nodded. It's from an old trade ship. They played Earth songs. I like this one. Tom smiled. It's one of my favorites too. They listened together as the song played. The music felt like a bridge between their two worlds, not words, not machines, just sound and feeling. After breakfast, Tom went outside to check the signal tower. It had been rebuilt after the Raider attack, and now it was stronger. The screen showed something new, a message from Earth. He opened it and read the short text, rescue ship arriving in 5 days. Stay safe. We are coming. Tom stared at the message for a long time. Then he looked back at the ship, where Lena was cleaning dishes with soft humming in the background. 5 days. He walked back slowly, holding the tablet. Lena looked up when he entered. News, she asked. Tom gave a small nod. Earth is sending a ship. They'll be here in 5 days. Lena stopped moving. Her hands rested on the edge of the counter. She didn't speak at first. Then she said, That is good. You'll go home. Tom didn't answer. He sat down at the table. Lena joined him. They both sat quietly. Is that what you want? She asked after a while. Tom looked down at his hands. I don't know. Lena stood and walked to the storage drawer. She took out a bundle wrapped in soft cloth and set it on the table. What's that? Tom asked. She unwrapped it slowly. Inside was a small round stone, carved with fine lines. It showed two figures, standing side by side, one tall and one small, looking at a tree. This is from my mother, Lena said. It is a family stone. We pass it when we choose someone, not just for love, but for trust, for life. Tom watched her hands as she held the stone carefully. I never gave it to anyone, she said. But now, I want to give it. Tom's eyes widened. You mean, to me? Lena nodded slowly. Her voice was soft but clear. Yes. Tom felt his chest grow tight. He looked at her, really looked. This wasn't a simple offer. This was deep, honest, full of meaning. She was asking him to stay, not just for a few more days, but forever. I don't know what to say. He whispered. You don't have to say yes now, Lena said. But I want you to know, I care. You came into my life like a seed in dry land. Now, I can't stop thinking about you. Tom looked at the stone again. His hands trembled slightly as he picked it up. It was smooth and warm from her touch. I didn't expect this, he said. I didn't either, she replied. That night, Lena made something special. She brought out her rare ingredients, golden powder, sweet red sauce, and soft green rolls. She lit tiny floating lanterns inside the ship. Their gentle lights moved slowly, making the space feel like a dream. Tom sat at the table. The food was placed in small bowls, each one full of color and care. Lena wore a robe with soft silver patterns. Her hair was tied neatly, and her eyes looked brighter than ever. This is for you, she said. One last meal before your choice. They ate together slowly. The flavors were rich, sweet, and full of memory. Each bite reminded Tom of the days they had shared, the laughter, the work, the danger, the peace. After dinner, they sat outside, under the stars. The night sky was clear, and the garden near the ship had grown. Small glowing flowers had started to bloom from the seeds they had planted. Lena looked up at the stars. "Do you miss your sky?" Tom looked at her instead. "I think I've found a new sky." She turned to him, eyes full of hope. Tom took a deep breath. "I came here by accident. I was lost, hungry, and afraid. But you gave me warmth, care, and time. You showed me another way to live." He paused. "I thought Earth was my home. But now, I think home is where someone waits for you, cooks for you, talks with you, listens when you have no words." He looked down at the family stone in his hand. "I want to stay," he said softly. Linus' eyes shine, but no tears came. She placed her hand over his. "You are not a guest now," she said. "You are family." Tom smiled. He felt light, like the stars above had come closer. They sat there for a long time, not needing to speak anymore. The garden moved gently in the night wind. The lanterns inside the ship continued to glow. In 5 days, a rescue ship would arrive. But Tom would not be boarding it. He had already been rescued by food, kindness, and a girl from the stars. 5 days later, the sky above planet Zernine was no longer quiet. A large silver ship slowly appeared above the hills, moving like a gentle bird. Its lights were bright, and its signal was strong. The Earth rescue team had arrived. Tom and Lena stood side by side outside her ship, watching the rescue ship come closer. A soft wind passed over them. The garden they had planted now had small flowers and tall green stems. Everything felt alive. Lena looked at Tom. Her eyes held no fear, only calm understanding. "They came," she said softly. Tom nodded. Yes, inside the rescue ship, the crew worked quickly. Their scanners had already found Tom's signal. They were ready to bring him back to Earth. A message came through on the screen. "We have located you. Stand by for pickup." Tom didn't answer right away. He looked at Lena, then back at the ship in the sky. "They think I'm waiting," he said. Lena lowered her eyes. "Are you?" Tom took a deep breath. "No, I made my choice." He walked into Linus' ship and sat at the communication panel. He typed a short message to Earth. "I'm safe. I found something better than home. No pickup needed. Stay safe." He hit send. Then he stood and walked back outside the rescue ship. Hovered for a moment, as if waiting for a signal. When none came, it turned slowly and flew away, rising higher until it disappeared into the sky. Lena watched it go. "You're sure?" Tom smiled. "I'm not lost anymore. I'm where I want to be." Lena nodded. There were no big words, no dramatic moments, just peace. Over the next days, they prepared to leave the planet together. Linus' ship was small, but with Tom's help, it became stronger. He installed new panels, fixed broken wires, and added a better antenna. They made the ship ready for travel. Tom also helped expand the greenhouse. He used parts from the mining outpost to build stronger shells, new water pipes, and even a small heater to help certain plants grow faster. Lena taught him more about her seeds. She showed him how to read the signs of each plant, when they were happy, when they needed care, and when they were ready to give back. They worked as a team, and their bond grew deeper each day. One evening, Lena brought out a new dish. It was a soft roll made from ground seeds, filled with a sweet, glowing fruit. "This is special," she said. "We eat this when a new life begins." Tom took a bite. It was warm and full of flavor. He smiled. "Then it's the perfect time." Lena looked at him with soft eyes. "Tomorrow, we leave for Narella, my home." Tom nodded. "I'm ready." The next morning, they stood inside the ship, now bright and full of green. The control panel glowed. Softly, Lena took the family stone and placed it in a small holder near the pilot's seat. "Now you're part of my story," she said. Tom placed his hand over hers. "And you are part of mine." As the ship rose into the sky, the planet below grew smaller. The garden, the rocks, the empty mining base, all became part of the past. Ahead of them, stars filled the window. Lena showed Tom the map of her homeworld. "Narella is not far. A few jumps. When we arrive, I will show you rivers and songs. You will see colors you've never seen before. I believe you, Tom said with a smile. The journey through space was quiet and smooth. Each day, they cooked together, worked together, and shared stories. Tom told her about Earth's blue oceans, tall buildings, and city lights. Lena told him about tree homes, sky bridges, and long meals with singing. Tom had never felt such peace. There was no noise, no rush, no pressure, just simple days and honest moments. When they finally reached Norella, Tom looked out the window and gasped. Below them was a world of green and blue. Rivers flowed like silver threads through thick forests. Floating gardens moved gently in the air. Bright-colored birds flew between tall trees with glowing leaves. It's beautiful, he said. Lena smiled. Welcome home. They landed near a small village. People came to greet them, tall, gentle beings with kind faces. No one seemed surprised to see Tom. Instead, they welcomed him with quiet smiles and open hands. Lena introduced him as her chosen one. She gave him the family stone in front of everyone. Tom bowed slightly and held it with care. In the days that followed, Tom learned to live like Linus people. He helped in the gardens, learned their songs, and shared earth tools. To make farming easier, he built a water wheel for one of the rivers. The villagers were impressed. At night, Lena and Tom sat under the stars, just like they had on Zera-9. But now, there was no ship to wait for, no signal to fix, no fear of raiders. Just them and the life they were building together. One evening, as the sun set behind the green hills, Lena prepared a quiet dinner near the water. She placed small lanterns around them and handed Tom a bowl filled with soft, glowing fruit. This meal, she said, is made only when two lives become one. Tom looked at her, heart full. Then I'm ready. They ate together, slowly, quietly. No crowd, no ceremony, just two hearts choosing each other. And so, the man who was once stranded on a mining planet found something far greater than rescue. He found a home, he found a purpose, and he found love in the meals, in the silence, and in the smile of a girl who once cooked for him daily.